Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's been a while. Sorry about the echo. I think we got that cleared up now. It's been a while. It's been a week, but you know what? I'm coming on live to tell you. Well, you already know. Not to tell you, but to talk about it. Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks are finalizing a 5-year deal for Tom Thibodeau to be the head coach of the New York Knicks. We're going to talk about it. I got Andy in the chat. I got Mark. We got Nate in the chat. We'll see who else joins us. But here you go from Adrian Wojnarowski, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks and Tom Thibodeau finalizing a 5-year deal to make him the franchise's next coach. Sources tell ESPN. And not only that, ladies and gentlemen, this would be, I think, the 14th head coach in the James Dolan era. So, let's go ahead and let's get with it, man. Let's talk to our guys up here and break it down. You know, let's talk about Tom Thibodeau, what he's going to bring to the New York Knicks. We're going to talk about coaching assistants that we think he's going to bring on, that we think he's going to hire. Players that will connect with Tom Thibodeau that we think might connect. I think everyone from the beginning is going to try to connect with him. And we'll go on from there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get these guys over here. You know, Mark is happy. You know, he jumped on the stream. No shirt on. You know what I'm saying? Celebrating. What's up, Mark? Go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you go with it, brother. I know you're happy. You're happy.
So for a fan that's outside looking in, right? As a so-called fan to most, but today it looks a little bright, and we can finally move forward in the right way possible. And I already see the chat. Oh, I don't like the hiring. Oh, we are pathetic for hiring him. Listen, we have a coach that knows what he's doing. We have a coach that's going to hold people accountable. I don't know where people get from he don't hold people accountable. He has a great development record and system to teach players to do things that they're weak at and make them into better players. It's a 5-year deal. And I'm here to say, for the ones that is attacking Tom Thibodeau today, tomorrow, next week, next month, the next year, next 2 years, next 5 years, I'm going to be on all y'all next, because guess what? This is the last coach we're not going to fire. Okay?
Hold up. Wait, hold. You said what?
I said this ain't going to be the next coach that we're looking to fire in the next year or two. Oh. He's going to be 5 years. So you fans better get in line and deal with it, because all the complaining, it stops now. It stops now.
Okay, Pops. Okay, Pops.
I'm coming after each and one of y'all. I'm making it known around the Knicks community. I want everyone in the Knicks community, whoever have a show, whoever talks negative about him, I'm attacking you.
Okay. All right. Mark, we didn't even get a chance. The ink probably isn't even on the paper yet.
It's signed.
All right. It's not even, they're finalizing. Finalizing does not mean signed. Finalizing means that they're going through the details, making sure the details are right before the ink hits the paper. You already attacking your fellow Knicks fans, and the ink hasn't even hit the paper yet. Come on, man.
We don't have no sense. We don't have no sense as fans. Okay,
but you got to be the prime example right now. You already talking about people attacking Tom Thibodeau. He ain't even signed the paper yet.
Do you see this chat? This chat is.
He can't even sign the paper yet. It's quarantine and all of that. You got to be 6 feet apart and all of that. They got to do a digital signing probably. He ain't even, you know what I'm saying?
Today's a good day. Okay?
But you're not smiling. It's a good day. It's a good day. You angry. You mad.
No, I'm happy and joy. I'm from New York. We don't smile. I'm from New York. We don't smile when we happy. Should know that, Sim.
Yo, Andy, what's up, man? What's going on? Mark already on the soapbox. Already on the soap. Listen, I promise you, for those who follow the front stoop, I promise you, I am getting Mark, who's Mark, and Marco Polo Vision together. I promise you, it is going to happen.
Who's that?
And it is going to be fireworks. It is going to happen. I promise you. I promise you.
That's one of the things me and Sim was talking about, and after yesterday's show on the front stoop, and the other thing was, when we're gonna do the Knicks Weekly and VK Weekly show on Sportscaster, because we didn't have anything to talk about, so we spoke it to existence that they gotta make a hire, whoever, whenever, but they gotta do it so we can make a show. So that happened too.
That's right. Spoke it into existence, man.
Yeah.
Spoken into. So Andy, what do you think about it? Got people calling in already. We're gonna get to the phone soon.
Yeah, I only had two candidates that I preferred, and it was Tibbs and Kenny Atkinson. So if it's one of these two guys, I'm happy with it. I would roll with one of them. I think we're still gonna have Miller on the coaching staff. I hope we're gonna get Woody on the coaching staff, and then fill it out with some guys that that Tibbs gonna prefer. I'm not sure about the 5-year deal because how New York rolls with coaches. I don't remember a coach that had 5 years in a row with the Knicks. But I hope this is gonna be the coach that we're gonna finally stick with.
Yeah. I feel you. Let me get to a phone call because they're gonna come in hot and heavy tonight. Then Nate, and then I'm gonna get to Nate. Nate, you got to get a picture up or something on your Zoom. You got to get a picture up or something. So when you go off every 20 seconds. So when you go off, there's something there. You know what I mean? Caller, you live, man. What's popping?
Yo, Unc, what's good? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, brother. How you feeling?
Maintaining, man. This chop. Supreme.
Yes, sir. Chop low. That's what's up, man. Supreme. I'm glad you called in, my man.
Yeah, because, I work late night, so this the time, and then you went live, and I just saw it. I'm like, oh, snap. For real? They got Thibodeau?
Yeah, man.
But see, this is the next thing now. I want the Knicks fans because I'll be watching the shows late night. I'll catch them later, but I'll still hit the likes and all that. Boom, I watch it, give you the views, and I know the fans is like, oh, we don't want Thibodeau. Everybody's like, oh, he run people down, but people want Van Gundy. But people forget that Thibodeau been on the bench with Van Gundy under Pat Riley. He comes from that tree, that work ethic. You understand? Mm-hmm. Fans don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? And I know he's going to adjust to the new style, and I know y'all talked about that before. Is he going to adjust or change his coaching style for this new era? And I believe he's going to do so. And I believe that they're going to keep Mike Miller under him, if you will. I don't know. But I just want people – I just caught you, and I saw Mark was wilding, so I'm like, damn, I don't know what y'all talking about yet. I'm like, well, let me call in. But I want everybody to be like, yo, I want people to relax and realize Thibodeau came from under Jeff Van Gundy and Pat Riley, that tree. Just like how people want everybody that's under Greg Popovich's tree, if you will, yeah? I just want people to realize, bro, Thibodeau is that dude, bro. I like it. I don't know. We don't know who the or do we know who the assistant coaches is going to be?
Not yet. Not yet. I think I feel like Woody is going to be one of the assistant coaches. I just think he's going to be one of them.
Yo, Unc, did you see when you was last night? I love the show too last night. And yo, listen, salute, bro. We had Razcast on the front stoop last night, man. Bro.
Big shout out to Marco Polo Vision, man. Marco Polo Vision made it happen. Big shout out to him. Yeah, that was major.
I love him. He cool, man.
Yeah, he's cool. That was major, man. Razcast, and it was pretty dope. If anybody here is a fan of Razcast and you didn't get to see the front stoop, make sure you check it out. I'm actually gonna post the entire I'm cutting out the interview and just posting up the interviews. You know what I mean? Because it was a dope interview.
That's dope. But last night also, I caught your man CP. He had Jamal Crawford on there. I'm like,
what?
Yeah, he interviewed Jamal Crawford for like 23 minutes or something. But, everybody, he interviewed Rasheed Wallace. Everybody speaks highly of Thibodeau. despite that. But remember, listen, Patrick Ewing and them niggas, excuse my language, Patrick Ewing and them guys, they were saying, yo, that's how Pat Riley used to do them. They used to practice and all that for like 13 hours. You know what I'm talking about? So he comes from that tree. It's that work ethic. He's gonna get the best out of you. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna make Kevin Knox look like Kevin Durant, bro.
If he can do that, that's what's up, man. If he can make Kevin Knox look like, you know, a light-skinned Kevin Durant, you know what I mean? Out there on the floor and with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I appreciate you, man. Yo, you hold me down, man, when I work late night. And for everybody else that's checking in, I want y'all to like and subscribe, because I be seeing it. It be a lot of people that viewed it, but they be a little bit less likes.
I feel you, my
like
brother.
Everything. You feel me?
Appreciate it.
And I want everybody to do that, bro. Yo,
definitely.
you all for the culture. You the culture right here for us.
I feel you, bro. And yo, I still got you. I still got the mixes, man. I'm working it out so we can get up on YouTube. So it's gonna be there.
Oh yeah, don't worry about that, bro. Don't worry about that, Unc, man. Come on, man. You the OG, man. We love you. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, bro. But hey, let me get on. Yep, go ahead.
I know you're not gonna tell him like directly, but you gotta tell Marco Polo to get some more dudes on my joint.
Yo, we got it. Trust me, we got it. We got some stuff lined up. We gonna have some surprises, man.
Yo,
we got some surprises lined up,
you
man.
was doing 20, 30-minute videos, and then look how everything expanded.
Yeah, man. Almost 30,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? We've had 70,000 people on at one time, so it's dope, man. Yeah. But hey, I'm gonna let you rock because I know I got some callers calling in.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Yes.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Peace. Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. The front stoop is getting in. It is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we've had truly 70,000 people on at one time. That's a lot of people. That's crazy. But anyway, we talking about Tom Thibodeau, though. All right? So we're going to talk about Tom Thibodeau. Let's get it. Calling you live on Nothing But Knicks. What's popping? I almost said the front stoop, man. You live on Nothing But Knicks, man. What's popping?
Yo, hey, first and foremost, man, this is my second time getting through. I always want to tell you, man, you're doing a great job, dog.
Thank you.
Especially
Appreciate
with
it, bro.
Going through quarantine and whatnot. Man, you really doing your thing, man. You and the team. For sure. But yeah, man. Tom Thibodeau, I Kenny, you know what I'm saying? Just like you and most other people on the squad, but we got Tom. It's not a horrible thing, you know what I'm saying? It's not the worst choice they could have made, so it is what it is. I think one thing he's gonna definitely be making sure the team is playing hard. I don't think he's as bad as I've been warming up to the idea of Thibodeau just because he did get Luol Deng on the All-Star team, if I'm not mistaken. Noah, even without D Rose, those teams should have been straight lottery, right? But he did have them in the playoffs and whatnot. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing that could have happened. He's shown some developmental chops, and I think that's what should be most important by the squad. And the fact that they gave him a 5-year deal.
5-year deal.
I think that it might be a little bit different than what we thought Thibodeau would have been here for. Like, I think we all was like, oh, yo, if they hired Tibbs, that means they got to be looking for a big trade, right? But the fact they gave him a 5-year deal might mean that they have a legit process in place, and Thibodeau has shown to Leon Rose and the squad and Perrin and all the dudes that, yo, I can really develop these players and show a whole process that we can have. Because I think that I hope, I pray to God, we all been through the trying to swing big trades or whatever. I pray to God that they just going to be trying to do the developmental role, you know what I'm saying, RJ and the boys, and not just this draft pick. Obviously, we all want LaMelo or Killian, but not just this draft pick, but also for the plan for whatever pick that they get in 2021. That's going to be huge. And then we actually start developing something, you know what I'm saying? Because then, even if we don't have Thibodeau for the next 10 years, how the Warriors did it, at least he could develop a culture and he could develop our players, just like the Mark Jackson type joint, right? And then hopefully, prayerfully, whenever that he develops them to a time when they can be winning championships and stuff. And then we could hopefully he might be the dude, but if not, they can go somewhere else. But yeah, that's something I got to say, man. I'm not pissed off about it. I wanted Kenny, but I hope that Thibodeau can do a good job. So
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm with you. I wanted Kenny, but I've always said I'm not going to be upset. I wasn't, if we got Thibodeau, I always knew it was going to be between those two. And then as of last week, the last show I did, we basically broke it down where we said, let's assume that it's Tom Thibodeau. I kind of had it in my head. It's Tom.
I saw that one
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So, hey, I'm cool. I just want to see what's next. That's the big thing. And I like what you said about him signing a 5-year deal and what a 5-year deal means. I'm going to get to the guys in the video chat and find out what they think it means that he's signing a 5-year deal.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Hey.
I'm watching, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Y'all have a good one.
You too. All right. So let's get to it. Nate, I'm going to start with you, man. Tom Thibodeau, they're finalizing a 5-year deal. What does that mean with them, 5-year deal? Now, listen, it could mean nothing because we've seen coaches get fired early and James Dolan will, he'll pay the bill. Okay, he's still paying for David Thibodeau right now. As a matter of fact, as early as yesterday, right, it was reported that Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks had started negotiations, but, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. They started negotiations. And the rumor was that if those negotiations fell through, Jason Kidd was the guy.
I was about to be going to coma.
Right. Obviously, that didn't happen. Tom Thibodeau was going to be the guy. It's a 5-year deal. What's up? What do you think that means? 5-year deal. Does it mean that? They have a building process? Does it mean that they have a plan to build in place? Like that's what it is. That we've been hearing from Ian Begley and others that Tom Thibodeau, the head coach, is going to be a veteran-heavy roster. So we still got to see what the roster construction is going to be like. And then there's going to be a heavy amount of minutes played by veterans, and that they're going to be looking to try to jump into the playoffs this season.
Oh, God.
So, I don't know. I want to know what you think.
So there's different ways to go at it. I do think that a 5-year deal does ensure at least Thibodeau that he gets at least 4 years to turn this team around. I think the fact is that Leon Rose is good friends with him. He's going to give him every opportunity to do well, because if it's his good friend and they have a good relationship, you want the best for your friend. And I think that he understands that he might have got a bad deal with Minnesota, and he wants to give him every opportunity to revitalize his career, because a lot of people were skeptical about it because of the way things handled in Minnesota. So I think he's going to, like I said, he's going to have every opportunity. Unfortunately, he's going to get more of a leash than Thibodeau did.
Oh, of course, you got to.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know why that is the case, but he is.
I think here's one thing. Yes, politics, right? Here's one thing.
Yeah.
Tom Thibodeau is entering a position where the president of basketball operations, Leon Rose, they know each other well. William Wesley, right? Now there were reports that Tom Thibodeau and William Wesley kind of had a falling out a little bit, but they know each other, right? They know each other well. So he's surrounded by people that are familiar with him, that he is familiar with. So it's not going to be as quick as, You did this, what? Bam, you're gone. You're out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not going to be like that. See, with David Fizdale, maybe him and Scott Perry knew each other, and Steve Mills, they knew each other, but it wasn't the kind of relationship like Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau have. You know what I'm saying? They're from the same CAA agency.
Yeah.
And
right?
look what
Or
happens.
from CAA.
And
I
I also think too that they're both trying to make each other look better. Like if Thibodeau works out, Leon Rose is like a genius for hiring him. And if it's all on Leon Rose now. I mean, every time a new GM or president comes into the play, your goal is to hope to get the right coach so you don't have egg on your face. And so he's putting his neck out for Tom Thibodeau. So Tibbs better come through for him, because if not, then we're going to be playing this song and dance in the next 2 or 3 years again. I think that one thing about Tibbs is he does bring a championship pedigree, because he did win a championship with Boston, and he was one of the biggest reasons why Boston won a championship, because of the defense that he teached his players. Also, too, he's going to come in and day one give his philosophy of what he wants. I truly believe that. And that's one thing Fizdale did not do. That's why a lot of us didn't know what the hell the Knicks were doing with Fizdale. We didn't know what kind of identity. But I tell you what, I almost guarantee you day one, the players will know what philosophy Tibbs is going to go with. Okay. And just hopefully he's learned.
Yeah, just to give people, for those who may be new to Tom Thibodeau, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel right now. Make sure you ring that notification bell. Hit that like button for me, okay? But let me break it down to you about Tom Thibodeau. He has a career coaching record of 342 and 256, 342 wins, 256 losses, in 589 games, 588 games, whatever it is. Right? He has a career winning percentage of .589. All right. He was an assistant coach. He began his career in Minnesota in 1989 to 1989, the 1989-90 season. Began his career in Minnesota, coached there as an assistant for 2 seasons. He was a coach for two seasons with San Antonio, with the Spurs. So if you want somebody that comes under Popovich, there you go. Right? In 94, 95, 95, 96, he was with the Philadelphia 76ers as an assistant. Then he was an assistant with the New York Knicks from 1995 to 2003.
Glory days.
Right? That's the glory days of the New York Knicks. The glory days. That's the Jeff Van Gundy era right there. All right? And then he was an assistant in Houston, again, with Jeff Van Gundy from 2003 to 2007. Then he was in Boston. Playoff teams. Yep. Then he was in Boston from 2006 to 2010.
Jesus.
And then finally, after all these years as an assistant coach, and you look at this is from 1989 to 2010. He was an assistant coach, fellas. That's a long time. That's 20 years as an assistant coach.
Come on.
20 years coaching experience as an assistant coach before he became a head coach in the NBA. Finally, in 2010, he became the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. He led them to a 62-20 record.
Who's seen that coming? No one.
Right? In 2011, 2012, they were 50-16. Obviously, the Chicago Bulls suffered a lot of injuries during his tenure. Derrick Rose having weak knees.
Let's speak in context.
Still, he would lead them to the playoffs.
Second round at that.
Right? 2014, 2015 was his last year with the Chicago Bulls. They were 50-32. Whatever happened in Chicago happened in Chicago. He took over in Minnesota. He took over. You see, I got my hype man behind me. I got Flavor Flav behind me.
Keep going.
Right. Now, 2016, 2017, he took over for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They were 31-35. 2031 and 51. I'm sorry. 2017-18. They made it to the. I think they made it to the playoffs that year. They were 47-35. And then in 2018, 2019, they were 19-21 when he was let go. Obviously, you know that Tom Thibodeau had. He was the general manager as well as the head coach. A lot of stuff to take on there. He, up until today at least, or whenever this contract is finalized, he was getting paid for Minnesota. I don't know if he's going to continue to get paid for Minnesota. Maybe because, that's how it works in the NBA. But he's going to be. That's what he's bringing to the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. A healthy coaching experience.
He, like this guy in the chat said, HSSPY. It's coming from a winning culture. What do you people want? What do you want? I don't get it. He's been with championship teams. He's been with playoff teams. He also had players who he turned into great players, as we see today. I just don't understand. He brings preparation here, man. He brings an identity. This is it. He brings an identity that the Knicks have lacked in the last 2 years. And that's something that we need so we can move on and say, this is what the Knicks are when we go into games, okay? Instead of being all over the place, which we was in the last 2 years. Things was just random. Random.
All right. Let me get to this phone call. Caller, you live on Nothing But Knicks. What's popping? What's good with you?
Man.
Oh!
Yeah.
Simmer.
What's going on, brother? How you feeling, man? It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. It's been a while, man. I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. You know what I mean? Hey, being able to talk to you on the phone is more my speed. It's hard for me to deal with the chat. You know what I mean? But hey, much love to the chat still. Everybody got their preference on how they like to do things. But Sim, I'm telling you right now, man. Originally, my thought was with this whole coaching search, I'm going to tell you because I hadn't got a chance to tell you who I wanted. I was leaning to Becky Hammond, man. But when it was decided that we weren't going in that direction, out of everybody that they interviewed, man, it's obvious you got to go with Tibbs, man. You trying to establish a culture. That dude established his culture. He done been around Doc Rivers. He's won titles. As an assistant with Doc Rivers, man, when you look at how his pedigree and what he's done with young players, I've heard a lot of people say, well, he don't develop nobody. They haven't been watching basketball. What he did with that Chicago team, I mean, even players like Kirk Heinrich, who wasn't known as that type of scrappy type player. You know what I mean? He turned them into something. I'm so excited for one player in particular on our team, man. Two people, really. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do with Mitchell Robinson on the defensive end. And especially, I hope they don't trade this guy, Frank Ntilikina. When you think about the coaches Frank Ntilikina has had, Tim, these coaches that ain't been coaching no defense. You know what I mean? Hornacek, garbage. Fizdale, garbage. Them guys wasn't coaching no defense, but here it is, Frank, on his own merit, was looking good on the defensive end, and I know people going to bash him about his offense. You know what I mean? Now he's going to have an identity where, hey, you got a coach that's in lockstep with you on the defensive end. And let's talk about R.J. Barrett. He's going to do what he's going to do. Even Damian Dotson, if we keep Damian Dotson, that's another good defensive player, potential 3-and-D. The only person that's really going to have to step their game up is going to be Kevin Knox. This is going to be a make-or-break year for him. If he don't do anything by midseason, he's going to be gone. But I hope that's not the case. I hope the guy pans out. But I love Leon Rose and what he's done, his approach, being methodical with this coaching search, and even from what they were saying to him about trying to have a collaborative effort. You know what I mean? And I said this when I was talking to the guys, the CP and them guys on Knicks Fan TV, Tim. You remember when Steve Jobs said what made Apple so great? He said it wasn't him. He said it was the people that he had in place to help. You know what I mean? So any good business, you're only as good as the people around you. And so Leon Rose didn't become this power broker
from just off him alone. It was his ability to identify people where he could put them in position to help CAA. Now he's going to do the same thing with the Knicks. I don't have a worry in the world with the Knicks with this hire, and more so when I saw the 5 years, I said, he's going to be here for at least 3 years, not 2. It's going to be at least 3 years because that's going to be a lot of money to pay a coach to get rid of him after a year or 2. He's going to be here at least 3 years. So, man, with that in mind, Tim, man, hey, it's a new dawn for the Knickerbockers, and I can tell you this, and I know you loving this, we're going to get back to defense. The Knicks haven't played defense, man, since the 90s. Let's be real. Since the 90s, we ain't been playing no defense. We ain't been playing no defense, but that's going to stop with Thibodeau or you ain't going to be playing. We know that. And with
Big
that,
facts.
Knicks family, much love. Mark, hey, man, Tim, even though I ain't been calling in and stuff, I've been listening and I've been watching, man. Keep
Miss you,
doing what
OG.
you do. Love the platform. Hey, man, I love you guys, man. Y'all stay safe. Once we get to this coronavirus, man, I'll come back to New York, and we're going to watch the game in live, in direct.
Damn right.
All right, my man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, Big Ron. Thank you for calling in, my brother. All right, so let's talk about some players. Let's start with Frank Ntilikina.
Come on, man. You already seen that guy in high games. Just go back to the FIBA game. You just go back and you put a team that has an identity and put roles in for a team. You already see what he could do at a high level. I'll just look at that FIBA team. Just look at when he played against the U.S. and how he shut down Donovan Mitchell and Kemba Walker. And you're talking about 20-plus scorers. And he shut them down. You give this guy an identity and you deploy him like he needs to be deployed. I look at Marcus Smart. He is Boston's defense. It's to a point I don't think Boston will ever trade him because if they do, they're going to be losing a big piece to their team. And I think Frank, especially as we have him right now, because he wants to be here, Sim, this kid wants to be here. He wants to be here. He's going to stay. He's going to stay. Why? Because he's a locker room guy, one, and he does one thing excellent. So when you can have a coach that allow him to do that, his confidence for everything else is just going to rise and rise and rise. For Jimmy Butler, when Jimmy Butler played his first year, he was just a defensive player. He was no offensive player whatsoever. And as the years grew, he became into what? An all-star 20 to 25-point scorer a game? A mid-range shooter? I just want Frank to be coached correctly and just have confidence in him. It's just like that kid said. Killian Hayes. I'm not going to come to a team if they do not believe in me. These young players, they're smarter than the ones in the past. They know what they want. They know how they want to be treated. They know they want to see their future is bright. And with Frank Ntilikina, man, you put him on the court as a defensive showstopper, man. It just raises the levels of other players. I've seen it this season, especially with the young guys. If you ever just watch Knicks games and when they have that young team in, they play a lot different. They play more happier. They play with a sense of identity. That's why I always used to get mad. Why he's pulling these young guys out? Even if they fail. But you just seen a level of just consistency with them together on the floor at times. Okay. And that's what Frank needs, man. That's what Frank needs, man.
And Andy, what do you think? Because I do feel like Frank is going to fit well with Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, man. I was going to say Frank must be one of the happiest guys on the Knicks roster when he heard about this news. I'm pretty sure. And actually, I think Tibbs, when he was thinking about the job, he saw something in Frank. And I think there's no way the Knicks are going to trade Frank nowadays. We got to notice that whenever Tibbs was on a winning team, I mean the Chicago teams, he always had a guy in the backcourt that can defend. On the Bulls team, that was Jimmy Butler, and he put him on the best shooting guard, even the point guards when he had to. And I didn't see a guy in Minnesota when he let's say now, because most fans are going to say that Tibbs failed in Minnesota, right? I didn't see a guy that they had in Minnesota like that could lock a guy down and stuff like that. So I feel Tibbs is really excited about Frank as well. And you know what? Most thing that I'm impressed with Tibbs is Tibbs brings with his persona and with only his, coaching style, he brings the culture in. When players are gonna think about the Knicks and about signing with the Knicks, they're gonna know what the culture gonna be. Right. It's not like, okay, we're gonna have Atkinson, maybe he's gonna run the team like this or this, because depending on the personal, or something like that. When players around the NBA gonna thinking about signing with the Knicks, they know what they're gonna expect from the current Knicks on the coaching bench. So I think it's he settled the boat, and now it's a straight course to let's say to the better way.
And what about Kevin Knox?
That's the player that should be the most afraid man on the roster, man. Because if he's not gonna pan out and get his more up now with Tibbs, it's only on Tibbs' mind. If he's gonna allow Knox to develop, I mean, is he gonna give him a little bit of time and a pass on him? Or he's not gonna, it's gonna be no BS from the start, from day one. I think it's gonna be no BS from the start, but I think he can see the guy and he can recognize that he can break this kid really fast. So he might, try to, let it go easier on Knox, but I think the rest guys are gonna be no BS. I think Randall's gonna have a no pass, man. If he's not going to be playing defense, it's a wrap for Randall. Around the deadline, he's a goner, man.
I actually think that, I don't know. With Randall, I think it can go either way.
Yeah,
I really do. I think it could be that Randall really falls in line with Tom Thibodeau, and you really see Randall play well, especially if you get a veteran point guard. That's what Randall needs. If the Knicks get a veteran point guard, then I think we can maybe see some of the best from Julius Randle, because he has the body, he has the power, he does not have a jump shot, he doesn't really have basketball IQ. But Tom Thibodeau, as you've seen, when he didn't have Derrick Rose out there and he found a way still to make the offense run, maybe can find a way to use Randle. And because he is a disciplinarian type of guy, and he's a guy that, with Randall, you need to have someone that he respects. David Fizdale got no respect from nobody, okay? I mean, nobody. He got no respect. You need to have, he's the kind of guy, you got to have someone out there that he respects, as well as, I think, a point guard that he respects. And I think I really do feel like we'll see a different guy on the floor.
Sim, speaking of Kevin Knox, right?
Yeah.
So the fourth spot that y'all said that he I think he's gonna play a lot of it with Tibbs. And I went back and watched the kid, right? He's not a good perimeter guy, but when you put him around the basket and he has he has to be like the help guy, he can be effective in so many ways that way, because he's 6'9", 6'10", and all he has to learn is just to put his hands up. And it's not just blocks; it's about deflecting. And it's about being a presence. So a lot of what Tibbs do, it's a lot about positioning. It's just positioning defense, man. If you get a player just to position himself, they'll be an adequate defender to a point where they don't look bad. Meaning that he will be part of the team defense. Because look when he had to deal with guys like Nate Robinson, when he had Nate Robinson on the floor. Even Johnny Lucas III, when he had all these small guards and stuff like that. And that team did not lose and Cal Korver, he made him into an adequate defender when he went from the Bulls to the Hawks. So in that case, he puts those players that's not that good defensively, and schemes defensively and makes him look much better. It don't make him look lazy. All you have to do with Kevin Knox, all I said, is to make sure the pace is well with him. and to position him. Just position. You have to position people like that. You have to take him and say, here, when this person comes in, you make sure you be right there. Because he don't have the wherewithal or the foresight yet to with the game speed, because it's all the game speed is messes with his head from time to time. You could just see it. When he learns the game speed, and like I said, if he does good, Sim, this is the type of guy to leave you on the floor until you like really, really mess up. But he gives you consistency. If you give him consistency, you will play. That's all he's about. Because the night he put Jimmy on the floor and Jimmy showed that he could do something well, from that on, Jimmy took off. It's all about being consistent with him, and if you want it. And that's why I want him here. Because if you want it, you're going to play. And like I tell people, when people come to the Knicks, it's like a vacation to most. I'm tired of that, and I see that every time. So if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. Okay? If you're going to come here and party, I don't want you here. I don't want you. If you can't come in and play 2 hours of basketball, then what are you here for?
Okay. Now, go ahead, Nate.
He's unmuted.
You got to unmute yourself.
Man, Mark's high on caffeine right now.
Oh, yeah, boy. I had a honey bun.
I had a honey bun.
Hey, man, in respect to Ron Cleveland, man, it's time to unleash Ntilikina. Let's give him the full potential to do what he wants, what he needs to do. And I'll tell you what, man, I think Ntilikina, his confidence comes from his defense.
Yes.
And he hasn't had the right coach that believes in him and says, hey, get out there and guard that guy. Get out there and be on him like crazy. And he has that coach now. Yeah. And that coach is going to hang a lot of responsibility on his defensive side. And I think you're going to see a more confident Frank, because Frank wants to play defense. Frank loves to play defense. In some of the games he's played well, he's played really good defensively too. And I think you're going to see that confidence come out. And his offense is what it is. I mean, hopefully he can work on his jump shot, but you're going to see him out there for the defensive situations.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. We've been having coaches that want to, everything that we hear is about, they talk about the defense and they say this about defense, right? But then when it comes time to get on the floor, they don't really show improve. You know what I'm saying? They say, well, this guy, Frank ain't hitting this shot. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing this. He's not doing that. And then they take him off the floor. Yeah, it's going to be different with Tom Thibodeau, because he's going to, his defense is going to be the thing that Tom says we need him on the floor because of that.
You arguably have two potential defensive players of the year on our team, when Mitch and Frank, that are going to just love playing defense, and Tibbs is going to take their game to another level on the defensive end. Like I said, offensively, I'll throw this caveat on the offensive side. I hope that one of the assistants is a young assistant that knows offense, because I think Tibbs is going to really focus on the defensive side. But I mean, hey man, if we're better defensively and we're holding teams down low and we're winning ugly, hey, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it starts somewhere.
Yeah, hold up, Mark. Let me get to this caller. Caller, you live? You live on Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
What's up, Sam? What's up, chat?
What's going on with you, man?
Kevon from Maryland.
Kevon, what's happening with you, bro? How you feel?
What's happening, man? I'm doing well. So we hired Tibbs. And I'm listening to some of the 21-year coaching record as a assistant, and some of the things that he did in Chicago and in Boston and Minnesota. I mean, it's hard not to hear Tibbs' record and be impressed. He has a fantastic record. I'm starting to realize that, like, what I'm about to say is kind of irrational. Like, I have a irrational fear. I'm not a big fan of the Tibbs hire, because as much as I love defense and listening to what Mark is saying about putting guys in defensive roles where they can excel, just like how Frank was doing in FIBA, that's a really good thing. Like, I'm hearing all the good things. My concern is not about defense. It's about offense. This, to me, feels a lot like the Phil Jackson hire. Now, Tibbs is a coach. Phil Jackson was the GM president. But what's similar is that Phil Jackson came in with a play style that he demanded the players play. So he came in and he basically forced the triangle down the throats of the players. And as we saw, that did not work in the modern NBA. My fear is on offense, that Tibbs is going to try to, I really don't know what Tibbs' offensive kind of style of play is. I know that I know that when he had Derrick Rose was the offense. When he had Jimmy Butler in Chicago and in Minnesota, Jimmy was the offense. So it seems like Tibbs really takes to a alpha dog on offense. I'm excited for the whole defensive thing. I feel like, yeah, okay, great. He's going to be great on defense. I'm a huge fan of defense. I feel like the Knicks have been lacking defense for a long time. I'm a big fan of Mitch. I'm a big fan of Frank. I feel like, Tibbs might do wonders with those guys. I'm scared about offense. I feel like maybe, just maybe, we're going to see him trying to fit a play style that just doesn't work in today's NBA. Today's NBA is fast. Today's NBA
can I say
is
one thing to
open
him,
court. And if you look at some of the defensive teams of last year, like the Milwaukee Bucks is a good example. I'm trying to do the research right now, but it doesn't seem like in the modern NBA, teams who were number one in defense were, ultra successful without also being within the top 12 in offense. So you got to have both in today's NBA. In the 90s, you can have the number one defense and be terrible on offense and still be great. I just don't think that works in today's NBA. So that's my comment.
Okay, Mark wanted to jump in and say something there. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so when you talk about Tibbs and his offense, right, you want to speak in context. So when he left Minnesota, right, his offensive rating was a top 10 offensive rated. So and when you watch he played after Jimmy left, right, because every team and any team, when you have that one play, you do play through them. You do play through them because that's your identity when it comes to offense. Everything runs through your LeBron James, your Damian Lillards, your James Hardens. So in that case, you find your identity through there. So now in the Knicks standpoint, right, we're looking at RJ to be the guy to take to the next level. So in his case, right, I look at RJ right now how I look at Joakim Noah in that case, where you take his best quality and then you put him where he needs to be on the floor. So for me, I would like RJ more in the mid post where he could create more for others and for himself because his strengths are getting to the basket. He's not quick enough on the pick and roll and he don't have the dribbling ability to be let's say James Harden level type of offensive play. He's okay right now. Mm-hmm. So you want to take what he's good at right now and harness that. So when he learns to do that, he's going to be very, very great at that. So with the Knicks now, you can't judge it how you judge with the Timberwolves because they have better polished offensive players. We're coming from the dirt again. We're coming from players that we can't identify neither one of them besides RJ to an extent. So in that case, with Mitch now, he's going to make him into a defensive player because that's what he is right now. So you want to harness that and make that more consistent. The Knicks have to find consistency. So for you to say we don't know what his offense is, yeah, we're not going to know because we don't know what our players are offensively at right now because they're not consistent. So you shouldn't be worried about that. I understand as a Knicks fan, we all worry. That's what we do. Okay, but you can't come in. You can't come in and judge him like how you judge him in Minnesota because he was a top 10 offense. And you got to speak in context when he was in the Bulls because when Derrick Rose wasn't there, he had to go through his best player at the time, which is Joakim Noah. You go through your most smartest player, which he was because he passed. So he passed and made other players better.
Okay,
so in that case,
let me ask you this, because he had players. You got RJ, who seems to have a really good basketball IQ. Is he ready to be that main facilitator? Ready for the offense to fully flow through him? I don't think so until he proves he can take it outside as well, right, and knock down those free throws. Once he proves that, he may come in this year and prove that. I don't know. We've only got to see him one season, right? But once he can consistently knock down that 3-point shot, mid-range shot. He can already go to the basket. He can already post up. He can already facilitate a little bit. But once he proves he can really knock it down from outside, then, yeah, you can say, yep, you can just flow it through RJ. Do we have, if he relies so much on basketball IQ, players who are smart to make their offense hum, do we have, with this team presently constructed, do we have enough basketball IQ? Because you even alluded to basketball IQ when it came to defense, right? That he puts players in position where they got to play team defense. Well, guess what? To play team defense, you got to have a good basketball IQ. You got to have some defensive acumen, a defensive IQ, right? To make those rotations and to make those rotations on time, to see the game happening before it happens. Right? To understand, okay, I'm standing here, this person is positioned there. Guess what? He's getting ready to drive there. I'm going to cut that off so he can't drive there. Right? So, and obviously he's coming in for the first year. And D Grails, I'm not bashing RJ. You got to listen to what I said, my friend. I'm not bashing RJ. Right? I said he doesn't have the jump shot right now.
Yeah, he don't.
Which clearly he does not if you watch the games. Right? And, he doesn't knock down free throws. Okay, he's a rookie. So he's got, if you're a rookie and you do everything perfect, then, either you have no other place to go or you're going to be the greatest player to ever live. He's a rookie. You're going to have faults. He's going to grow. You know what I'm saying? And what I said is, once he develops those things, then yes, everything can flow through RJ. Nobody hating on RJ, right? But what I'm saying is, see, threw me off what I was trying to say.
No,
threw me off.
On his team, son.
But does he have, and we're not going to expect it for the first year. That's the next thing I want to get to as well, right? We're not going to expect it from the first year. The first year is going to be him, I think, feeling out the players, who he has on the team.
Showing the way.
Right? Setting the culture, setting up his standards and making sure that everybody's going to follow his standards. There could even, who knows, there could even be a breaking down a little bit where it, that happens sometimes. Sometimes you gotta deconstruct in order to reconstruct, right?
Yeah.
So you never know. You never know how it's gonna go. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from the first year.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm not expecting a lot from the first year, but we're gonna get deeper into that conversation. But if a lot of what he does depends on basketball IQ, then we've really got to find a lot of players that have that IQ, which is the reason why so many people say that there's going to be a veteran presence, a heavy veteran presence on the team so that you can have that basketball IQ, right?
Yeah.
But
when you talk about,
go ahead.
Hey, can I say a few more things before I hop off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one of those things is just like, all right, picking up on that veteran presence, right? Another reason why I'm not so happy with this Tibbs hire is like, just 2 years ago, we were rebuilding with the youth. 2 years ago, that was the motto, rebuild with the youth. And every single time that we walk down that path and then we turn around. And Tibbs is the perfect embodiment of that philosophy of not building with the youth, of turning around before even walking down that path. That's one thing. And another thing, look at Tibbs' play style, especially on offense. On defense, I give it to y'all. I'm very excited about that. On offense, he plays two bigs at a time. The first thing, does that work anymore in the modern NBA? So
look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Look at
Denver. That's just a real question I have. It's just a real question that I have.
Okay. Well, let's see what kind of coaching staff he puts together. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what he puts together. All right. Hold on, Mark. I know you're excited, Mark, but you gotta let some other people get some words in.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. That honey bun got me on the edge.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what you put in that honey bun or where you got it from. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Kevin, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, Sam. Peace.
All right, peace. Andy.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say about the vets presence on the team and about the IQ. I think we gotta look deeper into it because I wouldn't be so sure it was the vets presence. I think it was simply the vets were the better players on the teams. I don't think he picked like, okay, I need guys over 30 years old on the team. I think he had a squad, and Rose was young when he was playing major minutes with Tibbs.
Noah
Butler was young. I don't see those guys. He didn't like ask for Butler to be, okay, you're going to play in 2 years because you're not 24 or 25, 26. Those guys were simply, veteran players on those teams. He saw that if he puts those guys in, he's going to get the most of them, and he's going to have he's going to get more W's than while playing the young guys, right? So I don't see the thing that, he only plays vets, over young guys. If the younger guys are going to be better than the vets, the younger guys are going to get more minutes. That's how I see it. And I don't, like the motion that he only plays vets. Is it easier for him to control the team with a point guard like Chris Paul? Of course, it's probably going to be easier, but he had young point guards in the past and he worked with them. So, it's not like he can only win if we get Chris Paul or some other, star veteran point guard. Probably is going to be, would be a little bit quicker and faster, let's call it the rebuild, right? Mm-hmm. But I think he can work with every player because he brings the standards. If you don't meet the standards, you don't get minutes on the court. That's as simple as that for me with Tibbs.
All right. So talk to me, and actually, first, let me just give a shout out to Justin Hernandez. Thank you for the super chat. He said Mark is happy. Obviously, we know Mark is happy. And then Chester Nick Nason, I haven't seen Chester around for a while. That is my guy. Big shout out to Chester. He said Taj Gibson stays for sure now. Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think Taj is going to be here for sure. Dennis Smith Jr. And caller, I'm going to get to you in a minute. Andy, Dennis Smith Jr.
How dare you?
You know what? I think all of these guys going to have a clean slate when they come in, with Tibbs. Will he get major minutes? I don't see it personally because if I would be the coach, I don't think he would get major minutes and definitely not for free. Depends what he shows in the practice facility. And if he's going to be better than the other guys, I think he's going to get minutes. That's as simple as that for me.
I mean, but how do you think Dennis Smith Jr. is going to...
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Nobody asked you to come in and say anything. You're supposed to come in and be quiet.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah. Coming back to Dennis Smith Jr. I think it can also be like with Julius Randle. I think it could go both ways. It's going to be really good or really bad with him, and they're going to get like 2-3 months into the season, and when the trade deadline opens, the window, I think we might see some moves done.
That's it's gonna be something with Dennis Smith Jr. I think I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, maybe he can respond.
Yeah, we got to remember that Tibbs. I don't know if you recall, but when he had those Chicago teams, he always had that point guard that he relied on really heavy on. No matter if the main point guard got injured, he always had that one guy on the bench, and it was mostly a point guard. But, I don't think he can, score that much in bunches like Nate Robinson did. But, like Mark said, how many of you guys remember John Lucas III? And we remembered him because Tibbs was using him really well, and he looked really good. Now I think he's not even in the NBA. So the same with Nate Robinson besides that. He's not even in the NBA. So I think Tibbs knew how to use them, and he made, something from him. But if they're not going to respond, they're not going to be getting minutes.
Yeah. Let me get to the caller, then I'm going to get back. Talk to, obviously, Isaiah, making noise again. You know what I mean? Making noise again.
You like a ruckus. You make the most ruckus up in here, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait. Mark is talking about I make the most ruckus?
Yes. Let me get to this caller. All right? I'll put Isaiah on mute. Caller. You're live, man. What's popping?
Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show for a quick second.
Appreciate you,
just want to say this is the greatest day, in my opinion, in the history of the Knicks franchise since the Knicks trading for Latrell Sprewell in January of 1999.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. This guy wanted this job, okay? He would crawl. This is a quote. A source close to Thibodeau. I would crawl to Madison Square Garden to get this job. This is the job he's always wanted, okay? We have not had a guy that is defensive-minded, that's going to get back and build a culture. And at the end of the day, look, I'm realistic. He needs players. But they're in this together. World Wide West, Leon Rose, they got their guy. They have to work together as a front office and as a head coach, and that's what you need. You need to be unified. And they understand. Thibodeau understands, and everyone in this chat understands this. Back in 99, he knows what it's like to win here. He understands this market. He can handle this market. At the end of the day, everybody, this is a great day. My favorite day since Latrell Sprewell. I've woken up. I woke up because this news got me a little excited, and we need this. This is what we need, and you guys have a great day.
Appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Isaiah.
Sam.
Go ahead, Isaiah, man.
Hey, Sam, can I ask you a question? Does Tom Thibodeau got a son? Because that might have just been his son right there. that might have been Tom Thibodeau's son.
Because it ain't Penny. Get out of here.
Well,
that was a great call.
You know what's crazy? Yo, listen, Mark, you know what's crazy, Mark? You know I was gonna come in and give you your flowers today.
Because you had to eat my flowers already.
All right, well, forget about that, Isaiah. Talk to us about it, man. No, we don't need all the jibber jabber. We got a lot of people waiting to talk, so talk to us about it. Talk to me about Dennis Smith Jr. How is Dennis Smith Jr. going to respond to Tom Thibodeau?
I don't know. The question is, to me, it's about what Dennis Smith Jr. are we going to get? Are we going to get this year, which I understand what happened with him this year, but are we going to get the Mavericks Dennis Smith, the beginning Dennis Smith Jr. on the Mavericks? Are we going to get that guy? Because if we get that guy, you put him with Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, but let's talk about that. Because Dennis Smith Jr. had a hard time dealing with what's his name? I can't even think of it. What's the coach's name over there?
Rick Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle.
No,
right?
Rick Carlisle seen it first year.
Huh?
I said Rick Carlisle seen it the first year. They wanted to trade him the first year. They got him.
But that's what I'm saying. Dennis Smith Jr. had a hard time dealing with Rick Carlisle, who wanted to play in a structured type of an offense, and those type of things. I'm not saying that Tom Thibodeau is going to have the same type of offense, but defensively it's going to be the same type of demands, right? It's going to have those kind of demands. He's going to be. Hopefully he comes in. Now, there's also reports out there that, he's willing to come in and kind of be he's learned some things. Let's just say that. Right?
I mean, look.
Given knowing what we know about Dennis Smith Jr. and the rumors that there's been about, him kind of, having this, attitude a little bit. Is it going to impact his relationship with Tom Thibodeau, or has Dennis Smith Jr. learned from being traded? And my condolences to him and his family, of course. The death of his stepmother, going to the end of the bench. Has he been humbled to the point where he's like, I need to listen?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, Sam, because we were at the game when they chanted. When they were booing them and they were chanting, "We want Frank." We was there, and then we just it's just. I hope so, man, because I like I said, like this kid, man, I think he really has one more chance in this league. Personally, if he doesn't get his act together, where you're gonna see him go to another team, and if he still doesn't perform or still doesn't get it, you're gonna see Dennis Smith Jr. in China or one of these other countries, man, playing ball. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, for his sake, I hope he gets it, and I hope he understands that he has an opportunity to make longevity money here and have a good career, a decent career. So, hopefully he can actually get his act together, because like I said before, I don't think he has that many chances left in this league. So I hope, because listen, man, at the end of the day, the kid I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he is an athletic point guard and he can do some things. He really can, but it just. Okay, we get it. He can't shoot. I know, Mark, but what he can do, we got to focus on what he can do. And what he can do, he's athletic. He can move, and he can do. So he has some skills, but it's just about him understanding that, again, this is just an opportunity he can't waste.
Yeah.
You know, right now he has a new coach.
I'd rather have J.J. Barea on my team.
But hold up, though. To Isaiah's point, I was reading about Tom Thibodeau maybe 2 weeks ago, and he was talking about today's offense and, the three-point shot, right? And he was talking about, the problem is, you don't want teams just running up. He said, he doesn't care how many three-point shots his team takes, as long as they're efficient, right? Then he was talking about putting players in position and playing to your strengths, not always focusing on the weaknesses, okay? So if Tom Thibodeau has that mindset, he's going to bring that mindset to the team.
Mm-hmm.
You look at players like Dennis Smith Jr., who has certain strengths. All of our players have certain strengths and certain weaknesses, right? We don't have too many players who are actually two-way players. So Tom Thibodeau may be that guy to say, all right, we're going to focus on their strengths and put them in a position to capitalize on their strengths and live with some of their deficiencies as much as we can. Dennis Smith Jr. could be the epitome of that guy, although we've seen it from him. He can play some defense when he wants to. We've seen him do it against De'Aaron Fox.
The crazy thing is, though, Sim, is just like, people harp on like bad teams that do that, but good teams do that. I mean, look, for example, right, the Warriors. We all know Stephen Curry can't play defense, but guess what? Steve Kerr puts him in the positions to where, his weaknesses don't get exposed as much as his strengths. You know what I'm saying? So it's just not about bad teams doing that. Good teams do that. The great teams do that. They hide their weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? And focus on the strengths. Yeah. So it's just not about bad teams doing it. It's about good teams doing it too. So it's just like, I think like that's a good way to do it because, again, like you said, we got one-side players right now. We got some guys that are great on defense, suck on offense. We got some guys that are great on offense that are good on defense.
The thing is, right, when you bring up Steph, you cannot do that because the dude can shoot the basketball. So it's cool to have him on the floor. I'd rather have him.
But that's what I just said, though. I just said that they focus, Steve Kerr puts him in position to focus on the strengths, and you don't worry about his defense because you surround him with. Let
me ask you a question. Yeah, Dennis Smith is athletic, right? But is he a threat? Like, is he a consistent threat where teams say, "Yo, we gotta put our defense to make sure this guy don't go off"? Is he one of those players?
No, he hasn't been like that since his rookie year.
So in my case, right? That's why I say you get rid of him for what he's worth now, because at the end of the day, if he does play any type of good basketball, do you realize you have to pay him next year? So in this case, I'd rather do the dude for an asset, personally.
Well, we'll see. Let me get to Michael Dublis. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name.
You're close.
All right.
So
my
thoughts with Dennis, I'm with you. I think you kind of got to get rid of him right now as just an asset. The only thing that I think is somewhat curious is Thibodeau with Derrick Rose. I wonder if there's any kind of similarities there that you can see to help him progress as well. Because I feel like this athleticism might be the same, so maybe that will give him some confidence. But as far as he goes, I think he's a wash. I'm done with him. And I like the possibilities of Frank, and then I also still like Peyton quite a bit as our point guards.
I can't go with you, Peyton.
I said the wrong thing.
Michael, I was on your side.
I was arguing with you, Mike. You did.
What up?
Welcome to the chat, Mike. Welcome to the chat.
I appreciate it.
I said Payton has been on my list from the beginning of the season. He's not good. He's not good.
We'll see what happens. We'll see if they waive him by October the 17th.
Oh, Sim, I forgot to tell you.
If they don't waive him, then you
people on here.
Oh, Sim, let me ask you a question. I'm surprised you didn't bring up that Levine thing.
Well, we ain't get a chance to talk about everything. We're gonna talk about stuff.
My bad, bro.
we gonna get to it.
Oh, Mike, yo, Mark, I see your sheets. Come on, brother. Come on.
Mark got a glow on him today with Tom.
Yeah. You know. All right, let me get to a caller. Caller, you live.
And Mark, you was right about ball, Mark.
Hey, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. As soon as I say it's quiet, I can hear you.
I'm gonna mute myself.
You're for Tom Thibodeau with the Knicks?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think Chris Chiozza can win MVP this year for the Nets?
You said, do we think who?
Chris Chiozza. You know the cheese?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you think he can win MVP this year?
Yo,
the MVP. You think you can win?
I don't know, bro. Right now we talk.
Yo, it's my boy Cheese.
No. I'm saying.
All I know is like the Nets are running New York right now.
The Nets are running New York right now.
Oh, we gotta cut them off. We gotta cut them off.
We got Kyrie, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, best center in New York.
All right, so what are the Nets? Okay, we're going to entertain this for a second. What are the Nets going to do in the bubble league? Who you got in the bubble league right now?
In the bubble league? Do you know what Chris Chiozza is?
What are you going to do in the bubble league? Yeah. But what are you going to do in the bubble league?
MVP. Chris Chiozza is a top 5 player in the bubble league. He's going to
maybe on the Nets. Maybe on the Nets.
Okay.
It must be that Brooklyn water.
Don't get me started.
Come on,
now,
man.
It's like it's gonna happen. Timothy Luau Carabao, like he's gonna take over.
All right, look.
Rodion Kuruk, Shonan Musa.
Is this Kevin Durant?
No.
We don't need Kevin Durant. Like, he's not relevant right now.
Let me ask you, who's gonna be a coach next year? Mark Jackson?
The coach? Tyronn Lue, top 5 coach in the league. Guy won a ring.
Tyronn Lue?
Yeah, Tyronn Lue. He won a ring.
He's gonna be he's gonna be the coach next year?
Yeah, he won a ring. He carried LeBron.
All right. You said he carried LeBron?
Yeah, LeBron can't win without a good coach. It's proven. Eric Spoelstra and him.
Tyronn Lue.
The only 2 coaches who won a ring with LeBron.
Nah, keep on the phone.
Tyronn Lue. Okay. So what's Kyrie gonna do next year? What's Kyrie gonna do next year?
Kyrie, I think he plays the 2 spot because Chiozza is starting at the 1. And then we'll have Karis, who's going to win Most Improved Player. And then we'll run KD at the 4 and Jared Allen at the 5. Jared Allen will probably win Defensive Player of the Year because he's the best center in New York.
Oh, my God.
What's KD doing?
KD, he's like our number 3 guy for this year.
That was funny. That was funny. I'm gonna give you that. That was funny. That was funny.
All right. So by your books, with the roster, with Tyronn Lue, and the way you got your roster set up, y'all gonna win the championship next year, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You might win the bubble league, so you might repeat.
Yeah. So, the bubble league we'll win that year, and then we'll win the year after, because we're just getting KD back and Kyrie.
He said Jay-Z coming back?
Yeah, to trip the guys on the baseline.
Who could guard Chris Chiozza in the league? There's only like 3 guards. Marcus Smart, Andre Roberson, and Kevin Knox.
Hey, yo, he's funny, y'all. He's funny. I like him.
All right. Hey, this is our
3 guys.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have our brand new Brooklyn Nets informant, Brooklyn Nets reporter. What's your name again?
Yeah, if you need anyone like to do some Brooklyn Nets news, I could be a guy.
I got you.
Oh yeah, this is the best guy. This is the best guy to get the news.
I got you. Listen, I need you to email me.
I'll call in some days. I'll give you some updates at the Nets. Like I can bring you some Nets news. I'll be your Woj.
Be my. That's it. You be the Woj. You are the Brooklyn Nets Woj. All right. Check this out.
That's his name, yo. That's his name. Brooklyn Nets Woj.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets Woj. I am gonna put my email. I'm gonna put my email in this YouTube chat so you can email me. All right.
I got you. I'll email you back.
All right, bet. Brooklyn Nets Woj. I appreciate the report. All right.
Sim, that's all he wanted. Sim, that's all he wanted.
Appreciate it, my man. Have a good one. The Brooklyn Nets Woj. We got the Brooklyn Nets Woj. KD is the third option next year. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news.
He was Jared Allen like on some next level thing.
Yo, did he say the Nets are gonna win the championship in the bubble league?
The championship in the bubble league.
They're gonna do two. They're going back to back.
Another one like the Pelicans. That guy that predicted the Pelicans.
Hey, yo, Sim, Sim, can I just say you got the best channel, Sim? You got 700 people, but we need to get them likes up. Can we get them likes up, people?
We need to get them likes up, no doubt about it, man. Get them likes up to 700.
It's 700 people in here. Can we get them likes up?
Yeah.
What's up,
Yo, Sim, but that's how you know you made it, man. When you get trolls calling in.
Right. All right, let me get to another call. Let me get to another call right here.
Oh Jesus.
Caller, you're live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
What's going on, man? I'm a big fan of the show. My name is Tishon. I'm from Jersey. And I just want to ask you a question, Sim. Do you think Tom Thibodeau being 62 and being an older coach, you know what I'm saying, will he be able to relate to players, the young players, or you think that's why they're going with more of a veteran, more heavy veteran team?
I think I think part of that, what you're saying is why, you know, they'll look to go with a heavy veteran team because because then you can take if let's just say for example you got Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson is going to understand the younger guys better than Tom Thibodeau, right? So he can be that. He could be the guy that's talking back and forth between the guys. I don't want to say talking back and forth, but it's able to break it down to the young players. Right, listen, this is how he thinks. This is what he's doing. This is why, and then be able to bring that back to Tom Thibodeau. Bring the feedback to Tom Thibodeau and say this is what the young guys are feeling. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that the young guys and Tom Thibodeau won't have a relationship, but you still kind of need that guy sometimes that can go through and you know, just break it down in a language that each other can understand. You know what I'm saying? The middleman type of guy. So yeah, I think that would be the reason why you have that kind of presence, veteran presence. Plus, you see the Knicks did some interviews with some younger assistant coaches. You know, maybe some of those guys come on under Thibodeau, right? And they those are the guys that can relate to the players better. See, I think David Fizdale did it the wrong way, right? David Fizdale was kind of like he was the guy that he wanted to be friends with the players, and then he let his assistant coaches, you know, be the disciplinarians, right? That's opposite. That's that's the wrong way to do it. The head coach is supposed to be the disciplinarian, right? And then the assistant coaches put their arm around the players and say, hey, you know, listen, this is what he wants. Don't worry about it, da-da-da-da. Those type of things. And I think that's how, you know, even though Tom Thibodeau is 62 years old, there's going to be questions about whether or not he can relate to the players and this and that. But how old is, and Tom Thibodeau's not Greg Popovich, although Tom Thibodeau does have a winning record. Right? He's not Greg Popovich, but how old is Greg Popovich, right? Greg Popovich is older, you know, but he's able to get through to his players and, you know, maybe he has some more innovative offensive ways of playing the game. I seen Skip Bayless already said something about, you know, it being a bad hire because players don't want to play under a defensive-minded coach and things like that. I think it's going to be wrong. I actually think we have the kind of players on this team. Look what all the talk was last year before the season started. It didn't turn out that way. But the players talking about, and maybe it was propaganda, right? Maybe the Knicks, you know, the Knicks publicists put them up to it and said, hey, we want you to talk about getting back to the 90s style of play. But if those guys were serious about it, then Tom Thibodeau is the guy that can, you know, bring that back, you know, bring that back. But hopefully, because if you go back to those teams sometimes couldn't score. Games was 80 points, 85 points. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hopefully he can bring back that type of toughness, but then also be able to get us to score. You know what I mean?
You think Kevin Knox
has ask you one more question? Just one more question.
All right.
With Thibodeau, do you think in free agency there's going to be players that would want to come play for Tom Thibodeau? Because honestly, that's what worries me. I think he's a great coach. I see what he did with Boston when he won in 2008 as far as, the defense. He has an amazing defensive presence. I see what he did with Derrick Rose, and I see what he did with Chicago. Of course, they couldn't get over the hump because they kept running into LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and that Miami Heat team. But do you think players, not to come to New York, but they would want or be attractive to play for Tom Thibodeau as far as we go on free agency? That's the thing that worries me. That's why I wanted Kidd, be honest with you, or Kenny Atkinson. I feel Kenny Atkinson developed players better than Tom Thibodeau, and I felt like Jason Kidd, he's more of an attraction. I feel like he can coach, but he doesn't have more coach experience than Tom Thibodeau, but I just feel like with a player want to come and play for Tom Thibodeau. That's just what I'm worried about as a Knicks fan.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand, but I think I hope that we can let the winning be what attracts players. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That's what I hope. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That, we can, and I'm not saying like we win in 50 games and then players come, but they see, all right, we got up to, we're winning 45 games. We won 45 games. And some players say, you know what? I can fit in there and try to take this team over the hump. Hopefully, that's what attracts the players. You know what I mean? And not just, Tom Thibodeau. But I get what you're saying. Okay. I understand what you're saying. And I'm not, it's definitely something, because I wanted Kenny Atkinson as well. That's who I wanted. Okay. And I wasn't upset about Tom Thibodeau, right? I wasn't upset about Tom Thibodeau, but yes, I wanted Kenny Atkinson because I thought that, developmentally, he could do it developmentally. I thought that, his, with the roster that we have, the equal opportunity type of offense, I thought would have fit well with the roster. But then the one thing that I had about Tom Thibodeau was because he has that equal opportunity type of offense, when it came time, you built your team up, and then when it came time to get, an elite player, would they want to play in that equal opportunity type of offense? You know what I mean? You seen what happened with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So every coach is gonna kind of have their ups and downs and their downfall, their shortcomings or something. So see how it works out. But I understand. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thank you so much, man, for the call. I'm a huge fan of the show. And Mark, you a superstar. Don't change. One.
Peace. I'm never changed, bro. I've been like, I was born, boy.
Mark, take a compliment. Damn.
Listen, man, I always gotta explain myself. It's just the way I am.
Yeah. But go ahead, Isaiah. You wanted to respond to that real quick.
Yeah.
Ahead,
so when it came to Jason, when he was talking about like Jason Kidd, for example, being like a lure to other free agents. I mean, I specifically remember people were saying this about David Fisdale, that he was supposed to be the guy to bridge us to get superstars, and that didn't happen. Also, when it comes to Jason Kidd, that didn't happen in Brooklyn, and that didn't happen in Milwaukee when he had a young. Well, he's still young. He's 24. Jesus Christ! But he had a Giannis coming up, getting better and everything, and players. I mean, it's Milwaukee, so a lot of players don't want to go there. But like you said, I'm more into winning is the biggest thing for free agents for the most part. It's either money or winning. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about like, this coach and that coach, huh?
It's structure, man. It's just structure.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Listen, man, I don't agree with what KD did, but I will say this, that he said that really spoke to me. Is like when he left, he was like, yo, man, I'm the only dude shooting there. It's not that much structure. It's like all this other crazy stuff. Even what Jimmy Butler did in Philadelphia when he was like, yo, there's no real leader on Philly. There's no structure in Philly. That's why he left. Because he said like it was crazy there. So it's like, and I don't worry about players because besides Karl Anthony Towns or Andrew Wiggins, every player that's played under him they are loyal to him. If you look at his track record.
Zach LaVine even talked about him.
I remember Jimmy Butler, man. He was like, yo, I love Tom Thibodeau because he matches my energy. He matches like I don't gotta worry about like, him getting into guys or and we all know how crazy Jimmy Butler is. And it just players are loyal to Thibs, except, Andrew Wiggins and and Carl Anthony Towns, but we know what kind of guys they are. So I'm not worried about players wanting to play with them. It's just about us getting a winning structure going on.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So let's the one thing I will say though, Jason Kidd, he has, every year that he's been a head coach, his teams have been in the playoffs. So
Sam, we dodged the bullet.
I'm not gonna lie. I think we did dodge a bullet with Jason Kidd.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to say we dodged the bullet because I don't think he was ever the guy. I don't know if we dodged the bullet. But hold on. The one thing I want to say is, and I say it every time, make sure we're letting somebody else finish what they're saying first before we jump in, right? Because when you're doing this over Zoom, and I keep telling you guys to have plugged in headphones, right? Because it makes it clearer. But the way that you're doing it, you don't have plugged in headphones, so you get a lot of feedback.
Oh, my.
You know what I'm saying? Bro. You gotta start having them plugged in headphones so that it's clear when it comes through. Because if it's not, then it doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? And when you start talking over top of each other, it really sounds bad. So you gotta let people finish what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? Don't be long-winded. Finish what you're saying and then let somebody else. And
we so used to wear by, that's why.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm a superstar. I speak when I speak. That's Andy knows.
Me and Andy are the superstars. Now you see how he just jumped in? See what I'm talking about? He just jumped in and said something, and, without any patience. I'm going to have to take him out of the chat.
Oh, have to box him out.
But y'all be letting Mark go, but I can't go. This is crazy.
Let me get to a phone call. Caller, you live. What's popping?
How you doing, Jen? Thanks for taking my call. Nick in Jersey here. I'm 34 years old. I've been following the Knicks since I can form memories. I've been with them all the way. I'm getting texts now from friends saying, hey, man, it's finally happened. I've been bullish on Tom Thibodeau for the last 20 years. To me, I just feel like he represents the best of the Knicks tradition. It's logical that he's the heir apparent of the Riley Van Gundy mold. And I know there's a lot of that, hey, it's a new league and whatnot. I don't buy that. I think certain principles are timeless. I think he's going to enforce accountability. He's going to identify which young players are keepers, probably Mitch, probably RJ, hopefully. And we're going to get rid of the fool's gold. And I think all these hits and misses on free agency, I think that's going to be rectified over the next several years. I think he's going to develop a winning culture, and he's going to attract a lot of people to New York. And I think he's the guy that brings in the championship. I give him 8 years, 9 years. I give him 6 playoff appearances, and I give him 1 title.
Oh, say that again. You give him what?
I think he's going to be here for 6 or 7, 8, 9 years.
Okay.
I think he's going to make the playoffs most of the time. The next 2 years probably not. And I think he's going to be the guy that brings home a title. I think he's going to attract the right players over the next several years, whether it's Booker, whoever it may be. But I think we're going to develop that core. I think it's going to be Mitch Robinson. I think it's going to be RJ Barrett. These guys are in their early 20s. It's ridiculous. Maybe we get LaMelo, hopefully. And we still have all this cap space. And all of a sudden, the mentality of the Knicks is going to change completely. I understand Dolan's still the owner. I understand, all that. But look, the head coach matters. It creates a culture. It creates a climate. And the reason we swung and missed in 2010 was because Pat Riley came in and he showed LeBron James all his rings. The reason we swung and missed in 2019 was the same reason. We don't have a winning culture. Tom Thibodeau is going to correct that. 20 years too late, but it's better late than never.
Okay. All right. So you got us winning the championship under Tom Thibodeau.
Within the 2020s, yeah. I give him. I think he's going to stick around a while. I mean, you look at the head coaches of the New York Knicks. I think the longest tenured coach. We've had like 17 coaches in the last 20 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Jeff Van Gundy coached for 6 years. That was the longest coach we've had since Red Holzman 55 years ago. It's crazy. You need stability. That's where it comes down. It's like if you're a bad team, you need some sort of identity. You need some sort of stability. If you're a bad team, you don't have the right players. You need that coach. You need the coach to be the face of the franchise. I think Tom Thibodeau is going to enforce that. I think Mitch Robinson's a keeper. I think RJ Barrett's a keeper. I know a lot of I'm very happy with the front office that Leon Rose has built. He's kind of have a little bit of a, there might be too many chefs in the kitchen, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he's going to rely on these people. These people are subject matter experts. and he's kind of a generalist with all those connections through CAA.
Right.
I think you're going to see a turn in the next 2 or 3 years in terms of the perception of the Knicks, and I think Thibodeau is going to be a big reason for that.
Okay. Let me ask you, how do you all right, just let's look at the first 2 years. What are your expectations the first 2 years? At least giving him the first 2 years as a grace period, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, let's just say that next season is a 60-game schedule or 66 games or what have you. I don't see them going over 500 next year. They're probably going to have a losing record, but they're going to be competitive. They're going to put up some big games in the Garden against some good teams. The energy level is going to be visually different on the team, and especially on the defensive end of the floor. Coming into the second season, again, who knows? I have no idea what's going to go on with trades and cap room and the draft picks, but I can see them turning this around within a year or two. They have all the cap space still. They have 3 or 4 young guys that are barely 21 years old, and they're going to have another draft pick coming up, another draft pick next year. I don't see why they can't make the playoffs in 2021, 2022. If they miss out on the second year, then certainly by the third year they should be a playoff team.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. You know, we got to give him a little bit of a grace period. Knicks fans don't like to do that. You know what I mean? But we got to give a little bit of a grace period. See what he's building. You know.
Exactly. They're going to have to win 45 games at some point before they win 55 games. I mean,
right.
I understand the logic is you can't, don't do a short rebuild. Let's rebuild the right way. I totally get that, and I support that. But at some point, you got to win games. At some point, you got to be a 6 seed before you could be a 2 seed. And I think, the Knicks have to develop a winning culture. That's most important right now to attract free agents.
Yeah, and hopefully they're on their way to that, man. Hey, Mark, I appreciate your call.
Thanks a lot.
All right, have a good one. All right, let's get to another call here. Then I want to ask the video chat. I'm going to ask you guys. So I want you to be thinking about it. I'm going to come to Andy first. I'm going to take this call, then I'm going to come to you, Andy. I want you to be thinking about what kind of what are your expectations for Tom Thibodeau in the next 2 years? Right? What kind of grace period? Does he get a 2-year grace period? Those type of things. Caller, live on the Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on with you,
me?
man? Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
What's up? How do you feel about Julius Randle going into the season?
Going into the season?
Next season, yeah. How do you feel about him?
I mean, I think a lot is going to depend on what our roster construction looks like. Like I'll continue to say, I think he has a lot of talent. It needs to be honed in. I mean, he's still very young. He's 25, right? He's still very young. Doesn't have a great basketball IQ. But if you can get
RJ Barrett called him out. I remember that.
If you can get a point guard,
like LaMelo?
a point guard, no, a point guard that he respects. He's not going to respect LaMelo, in my opinion, right? If you can get a point guard that he respects, and then you have a coach like Tom Thibodeau, I think you can get some stuff out of Julius Randle. I think, but it depends on those things. That's what I think. I think it depends on there. And if you're not going to get a point guard that he respects, then you might as well move him because I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
Then you
How
might
do you feel? Do you miss Porzingis at all?
Mark does. You know what I mean? Would Porzingis? Let's put it like this, though. I will say this: if Porzingis was on this team,
power forward, right?
I think if Porzingis was on this team, you probably wouldn't have Julius Randle, but maybe you did. Who knows what those guys would have done, right? Because they would have had some money still. When you talk about Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, if you have Mitchell Robinson, and Julius Randle on the floor at the same time, there's no space. Those guys clog the lane.
Yeah, with Porzingis, that creates space.
Right. They both kind of hang in that short corner, waiting for either when Mitchell Robinson is doing a high screen and roll, Julius Randle's in the short corner. So the short corner is like the area between like the box, the area between the box and the 3-point line, right? So kind of hanging in that short corner, waiting for the ball to get dumped off for a dunk or waiting for a rebound, right? Mitchell Robinson, when Julius Randle is either setting a screen or posting up, is kind of in that same area because they both have the same mentality. I'm going to rebound the ball. I'm going to get a putback or I'm going to get a dump off. All right, because neither one of them are great shooters. Julius Randle, he shoots the three, but he's not a good shooter from the three-point line, right? He shoots 28% from the three-point line this season, at least.
That's below average.
So the idea of Bobby Portis was to be the guy who you could put him in with Julius Randle to play center while Julius Randle played the power forward, or you could switch it around and let Julius Randle be a small center, right? Because he's strong and powerful, be a small center and let Bobby Portis go to the power forward spot, but Bobby Portis could stretch the floor. You put Bobby Portis with Mitchell Robinson, same thing. Bobby Portis is at the 4, Mitchell Robinson is at the 5. He stretches the floor so that you can do that screen and roll with Mitchell Robinson, or the lane could be for Mitchell Robinson. Porzingis would have been the guy that's the go-between, except Porzingis would have been starting, right? Probably at power forward, and then if Julius Randle was on the team, which if you signed Porzingis, he probably wouldn't have been on the team. So it would have been KP and Mitchell Robinson, which would have been a better duo logistically, right? Logistically, in the way that they fit together, it would have been a better duo, Mitchell Robinson and KP.
Yeah.
Right? Because KP would have been a stretch 4 that, doesn't really post up much because he doesn't have the body that you're hoping years down the line he would have been able to post up, right? And been effective posting up. He can also spread the floor. He can also block shots. So now you got 2 weak side shot blockers on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Too long. I mean, KP 7'3", 7 foot. Mitchell Robinson 7 foot, 2 shot blockers. But so it is what it is now. I'm taking it from where we are. So where we are now is we got Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, and you got to find a way to hone in Julius Randle or help Julius Randle hone in his skill set. You know what I'm saying? And the problem, though, is you got to find a way to spread the floor between those two. That's the issue, because Julius Randle, although he came into last season shooting 35% from the three-point line, he didn't take it to another level. He dropped. How much of that is Julius Randle? How much of that was just everything that was going on? Who knows? But I'm not confident that he's going to be able to come back and ever be a real good three-point shooter. I just don't see it in me personally. I don't see it in his skill set to be a three-point shooter, right? So that's going to be, how is that mix going to work? Maybe, Tom Thibodeau, he says he likes to use players to his strengths. We'll see how it works there.
Yeah. On it, who do you want for agency?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who I want in free agency. I think I want to, I want to see who's going to be the assistant coaches. See what our draft looks like. And by the way, the draft, the NBA lottery is moved up to August 20th instead of August 25th, right? See what that looks like, and then start, see what the roster is. And then I think October 18th starts free agency, and then look at it. So I'm just not sure.
You want Fredward VanVleet from the Toronto Raptors?
VanVleet? I don't know. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, that guy.
There's a lot of people that are like, no. He could be. We'll see what happens in the draft. He could be a decent option.
Yeah, he's a good point guard. I like him.
The thing is, he's a good point guard. I think the thing is, how much money is he going to command? That's the issue with Fred VanVleet. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate your call.
I think he good money.
He's good. He's gonna want some money. Appreciate the call, man. Later. All right, let me get over here. These guys real quick. Fellas, those who are muted, I'm going to hit that unmute button for you, I think. But I'm going to start with Andy. Andy, what do you think? Timeline for Thibodeau.
Yes, and since the next season is going to be a little bit different than what we saw, years back. Probably it's not going to be an 82 game season. So I'm not going to put numbers like he's going to get over 40 wins. I think he's going to have like that around that 400 percentage wins, but it still depends on what kind of roster he's going to get to work with. Plenty of things depend on who we're going to draft and stuff like that, and it's too many variables, to say, what kind of winning percentage can he get. But also, I think since the schedules are going to be probably changed because the next season is going to start like around December. It's going to be less games. I think that whole season he's going to get a pass. And then like in year 2, we're probably going to start noticing things that we like, we don't like, and stuff like that. And if we are going to see progress, it's going to be the whole second season that we're going to give him a pass. If we're going to see things like we saw with Fizdale, that we saw that we need to fix this, and he's not even working on it, it's going to be, another, that kind of fire dumpster thing that we're going to try to do with this team. And probably it might start with Thibs because the 5-year deal, it doesn't bother Dolan to pay 3 coaches in 1 year, right? We saw that in the past, even a couple of years back. We were paying Hornacek, Fisher, and one more coach at the same time. So I don't think that's going to bother Dolan. But I still hope that Thibs is going to stay for the longer run here with this team.
Okay. All right. Let me get to. I haven't heard from Justin. Let me hear from Justin. Then I'm coming to Guillermo. All right. Justin, what do you think about the timeline with Thibodeau?
I think, like I said, the year 1 is basically your evaluation period. You gotta, he doesn't even have his roster of assistant coaches. He doesn't know what players he's gonna keep or what player he wants as his starting 5, stuff like that. And I mean, year 1, like I said, evaluation. Year 2, I would say playoffs. But like I wasn't the Tom Thibodeau fan. I was on the KW bandwagon, but but like I said, I like Tom. But as far as evaluation is concerned, he's gonna have to really decide what his starting 5 is going to be. Not that you're gonna have a starting 5 on Monday, and then Tuesday it's a different lineup, and then Wednesday it's another different lineup. I think he'll roll with consistency. I don't think he's gonna be that coach that this point guard, that forward's gonna start, determining on the matchup. You got to roll with what you're gonna you got to roll with what you're gonna have in the beginning of the process.
Right. And I feel like with Tom Thibodeau, I feel like he is that coach though.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'm gonna say about Tom, and I feel like the one player on the Knicks that I feel like will benefit a lot and become a vocal leader is R.J. Barrett. I think he's going to give R.J. Barrett a stronger voice to be that guy, that leader for this team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he is going to be great with R.J. Barrett, and I think R.J. Barrett is going to love Tom Thibodeau.
And one more, as far as like what I forgot who said it earlier, like one of the callers, as a matter of fact, who's gonna want to play under Tibbs, stuff like that, free agency and all that. I'm tired of hearing about free agent players that don't want to play under certain coaches. If you don't want to come to New York, don't come to New York. We'll throw out the pitch, throw out the money. You don't want to come, you don't have to sign, and we just deal with what we got. I'm tired of. I'm getting out of fantasy now about these free agencies that want to. Oh, we might get this guy. We might get that guy. I agree with what you said earlier too. It's about the winning culture, not about who's your coach.
Right. Exactly. Because that's what happens too many times. We worry about, is this coach going to be able to attract this player, that player, instead of just developing that winning culture and then going from there. Nah, no doubt about it. And that's all that I want. Guillermo, I'm coming to you, man.
Yo,
what's going on? Yeah, I can hear you. All right, so what's your take on Thibodeau? We got Thibodeau, not Atkinson. What's your take on Thibodeau, and how long do you give him for, how much of a grace period you giving him?
I mean, you give him, he signed for 5 years, so you, in a way, it's good because you're coming in with the GM and a coach at the same time. Nice congruence there. So, look, you give him the full 5 years unless it's like tragic, unless he's losing the locker room. And right now, fortunately, we don't have really big-time voices where, say, you got a player who was with the team when they're winning playoffs or in the playoffs and they're trying to come with a new culture. I mean, so it's a nice time to kind of thin out the fat, get the bad flesh out, get the guys who are not going to fit your vision. It's most likely going to be the Randalls and some guys like Portis. You keep the guys like Taj Gibson, kind of build your culture and your identity. And don't be surprised, guys. Look, if we end up with a pick where you get a guy like Anthony Edwards, straight dogs, and he can run with R.J. Barrett, don't be surprised if the team is sniffing, 8 seed, around that 9th area. I'm not saying you expect it, but again, Tom Thibodeau is an X's O's kind of guy. He has to work on the personality and culture building. I think that he was blessed enough to have Derrick Rose, but we saw he kind of struggled with a talented but kind of chemistry off type of team with the Timberwolves. So I want to see how he works in New York. The bright lights are going to be on him. To me, I don't even want to talk about playoffs yet. I'm not saying we can't expect it, but let's see how he builds a team. Does he build his team first off a defensive identity, build off of the fast breaks, increase the pace because maybe some guys don't understand certain things? Does he have Knox as a focal guy playing off the ball? Who does he draft? If, say, he gets the number 2 pick, does he pick a LaMelo Ball because of the name? Does he get pressure like that, or does he pick another guy who fits his vision? So it remains to be seen. I wasn't the highest on him because I thought with Atkinson was a guy that was lacking X's and O's, but I like the development aspect. And I think that with guys like Atkinson, who, you could kind of build and mold around him, Thibodeau, he could lose a locker room, which is not a good thing. But the good thing is that we don't have guys, the big name guys who won. So it remains to be seen. I'm not going to sit and say, oh, give him, look, if he doesn't blow it up like Larry Brown, if he's not saying trade R.J. Barrett by like the second year like you do with my son Trevor Ariza, keep him and see what he can build off of. But, I like the fact that he came in with the new GM. Hopefully they don't go after big names in terms of let's just go after disgruntled big names just for the sake of it. Because if you're trying to thin out the flesh, thin out the fat, and then you bring in these big names who may not fit the system, you send a bad message to some of these young guys who are building. So you send a bad message to the RJs, the Mitchell Robinsons, even the Knoxes. So I'm saying that they want to bring in guys like Mike Woodson and Mike Miller. We talked about it. I'm not necessarily against it. I just want to know what the vision is. And to disagree with what Nick said a few episodes ago, he did try a whole bunch of stuff out with the Bulls, where he tried to run triangle. He tried to play pace with Derrick Rose. So it remains to be seen. People just see him as a defensive coach, but I give him some credence. He does have some offensive ideas. I just want to see how he gets that to fit with the team that we're going to build, especially with who he drafts, which is going to be extremely important. So it remains to be seen. I'm not totally down there, but it is what it is right now. So I'm on board right now.
Okay, Kevin, I'm coming to you, Kev. Give me your timeline for Tibbs and talk to me about Zach LaVine. Do you think Zach LaVine is going to be, if he comes available, there's rumors that the Knicks would go after Zach LaVine. But first, talk to me about Tom Thibodeau.
Okay, Tom, first off, what's up to everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying this Saturday. I'm giving him the length of his contract. The reason why I say that is because if Philly can let Brett Brown stay for as long as he did, I mean, I know they're having success right now, but before before all those two guys that came in that made him successful, they were struggling big time, and he stood the test of time. It's looking like. So if Brett Brown can stay as long as he did with Simmons and Embiid, if he can stay as long as that, I say give Tom the 5 years. What people seem to forget with Minnesota is that he had two hats on, not only as coach, but I believe he was either general manager or president, one of the two. So he had two hats that he was trying to juggle. So with him getting like Taj Gibson and the rest of the ex Bulls players, that was him because he had control of that. Now let's see what happens when he's given these players and he doesn't have to worry about getting them. Just now coach them. So, and I think, and from what Sam was saying about RJ Barrett, I'm salivating on him taking the reins of Frank Ntilikina because that's your defensive, guru right there at point guard. So I know he's going to have. I think him and Woodson are just salivating over what they're going to do with him, with Frank Ntilikina. I'm more excited, for that. But I say give him the length of his contract and everything. And I see Isaiah and I see Andy just smiling and everything. Listen, I'm the biggest Frank Ntilikina fan probably on this thing right now. So I'm more interested in seeing what he's going to do with Frank, and which goes into what I say about Zach LaVine. If he can only help, but me personally, I'm not looking. I don't think that's the right move to make. I believe that once we find out who we have in the draft, what position we have in the draft, I think we go from there. So if that means getting all in for LaMelo, do that. If we're lower, get whoever, and then with that last pick, hopefully, if we can get like a Maxey or the maybe even the point guard from Kentucky, if they're at the bottom, get them. So that's what I say.
All right, check it out, guys. All right. It's getting late. We've been on for about 2 hours. So I'm going to head up out of here. Although I am going to have some other conversations over on Sportscaster. If you want to join us, I'll be there for about a half hour more. All right. And I'm putting the link to Sportscaster right in the description. So you can go into the description. You got the link to Sportscaster. I'm also going to put the link in the YouTube chat so that you can join us on Sportscaster. We're going to continue over there. We're going to talk about Frank Ntilikina playing in France or playing in Paris, possibly playing in a league in Paris. We're going to talk about the bubble league for the Delete 8. We're going to talk about Zach LaVine, the possibility of the Knicks trading for Zach LaVine. Okay, so make sure that you join us over on Sportscaster. I just put the link in the chat. I just put the link in the description of this video. All right. And, join us, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Go into the description of this video and you can get the entire, you can click on the link right now to take you to Sportscaster. And you can see that we're live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type it into the YouTube chat right now. All right, so that you can join us there. Just give me a second so I can get to it, and I'm gonna type it in. And I'm gonna type it in there right now. You can also go to sportscaster.com/NBK, and you can jump on it right there. So let me put that in the chat so you guys have it and ready to go. All right, I appreciate you guys for staying on with me, ladies and gentlemen. And listen. Who knows how it's going down, man? But I'm just, I'm just glad that the Knicks we made a move. We did something. You know what I'm saying? We did something. All right, so HTTPS Sportscaster.
Sim, I'm pasting it so you can.
Oh, you put it in there for me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great.
Spam it a bit.
Good. Yeah, spam it in there. So Andy is spamming it in there so that you guys can get the Sportscaster link and come on over to Sportscaster. We got a whole network over there. As a matter of fact, Brooklyn Nets Woj, I'm going to get you to get on there. You know what I'm saying? I can see Isaiah. Don't worry. I can see him. I can see Isaiah. All right? So don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? When we get on Sportscaster, he can say what he's going to say. All right. It must be an emergency. Go ahead. What's up, Isaiah? You better not say nothing stupid.
Oh, God, now there's a lot of pressure on me. So I just wanted to say, before we go, I just want us to like that. We got to get them likes up. There's a lot of people in here. Let's get them likes up.
He's trying to butter me up. He's trying to butter me up.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. But I just want to say, and if it's okay with Andy, I want Andy and me, we're going to do a show. We're going to do a show on Sunday. If Andy's fine with it, I want me and Andy to do a sportscaster show, and we're going to talk more about Tom Thibodeau and his fit on the Knicks.
Isaiah, you got to tell him which Sunday, bro.
Yeah, right. See what I'm talking about?
Andy, you see I didn't tell you which Sunday, right? I didn't say it because, look, I forgot what. Listen, Andy, if 7:30 is good for you, Andy, I can make that work. Is that too early?
Well, we can talk about the time later. You're gonna have
we can talk about that later.
Yeah, you can do all the scheduling later.
Yeah, because it's Black Thunder and White Lightning. We are going to be great, and it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, see, that's all you want to do. You see how
you got the Poland.
You see that? He just tries to use me. He's using me to get some pub. Andy, can you continue to spam that in the chat? And also in the link I put in the chat, I put a link in there for Razkaz if you want to put that into the chat as well. You know what I'm saying? So people can go check out that Razkaz. You see that, ladies and gentlemen? He just wants to use me to try to get some pub. How foul is that? You know what I mean? How foul is that? But ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys again. Andy has put the link in the chat, in the YouTube chat. He also put it in the. I also put it in the description of this video. Join us on Sportscaster. We're going to continue talking about Frank Ntilikina possibly playing in Paris for a few games. We're going to talk about Zach LaVine and if the Knicks would really have interest in Zach LaVine and the bubble league for the Delete 8. And I don't know if it's going to be a league for the Delete 8, but it may be just like some workouts or something like that. We're going to talk about that. All right, so listen, still 500 people here. Make sure you hit that like button for me, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Ring that notification bell. You'll be notified whenever I go live, drop a video, whatever it is. But for right now, you guys who are here, join us on Sportscaster so we can continue the rest of this conversation. All right, we're here so we can talk about Tom Thibodeau. Now we're going to get into some other things that might impact the Knicks going forward. You know, I'm sure Tom Thibodeau's name is going to continue to come up. But join us over on Sportscaster. And if you can continue to just spam it in the chat for the people who are still here. And remember, you guys can check it in the description of the video. Go into the description, click on the Sportscaster link, and join us over there, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time. I hope that I see you over on Sportscaster. If I don't see you on Sportscaster, then I will definitely see you the next time that I'm live. We got some stuff to talk about now. Finally. All right. Catch me over on Sportscaster. If you're on YouTube right now, I'm signing out. I'll see you on Sportscaster.